Everybody. Happy Black History Month. I'm going to start off with that. The first thing I said out of my mouth is Happy Black History Month. Let me fix my bow tie too to make sure I'm looking good as well for this occasion. But yes, thank you, Black History Month. And first of all, I want to say also thank you to U.S. Bank for sponsoring our Don't Talk with Your Mouth for today. I appreciate you, U.S. Bank. We appreciate you. Thank you for allowing us to go through this and actually be able to talk about stuff like this, bring issues and topics to the table. So, and thank you for what you've done in this. All right, so without further ado, now y'all know how I am. I'm a goofy individual, so I'm gonna be up here talking. Now, don't be like, "Hey, Alan, you just go along with the ride, folks. We're gonna be here to have a good time." All right. So with me today, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Go for it, big guy.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kendrick Currington. I go by Ken, so Ken Currington. I am a liver recipient, going on 5 years in June. I now model, I act, I am in the fitness world. So I'm here to be an advocate for those who are donors, who are recipients, whose families of the donors or the recipients. I'm here to talk everything that has to do with that with my man Alan here.
And as Javri said, my name is Alan Gazaway. I am the multicultural community educator here at Coda Donate Life, Kentucky. Today we are going to talk about Black History Month. All right. So again, everybody wants to know Black History Month. We know we're in the middle of it right now. We are dead center in the middle of Black History Month. And we just want to have this conversation. You know what? Before we even go any further, I forgot to do one other thing too, because today we got to talk about what we're going to be eating first. So from today, we have from Milk 502. Thank you for this lovely shut up meal that we're about to eat right here and destroy. So again, I am going to be talking with my mouth slightly full though, guys, but I promise you it will not be, gross. All right, but again, we're here today to talk about Black History Month. Quick history about it, real quick, in case you did not know. Black History Month started over 100 years ago. It was actually, we're about at the 100-year mark. I'm sorry, not 100 years. We're close to the 100-year mark. It'd be a couple of years, 100 years. But it was started by the need of educating Black folks, educating about the importance of the contributions that they've made, that we've made to society as a whole. It initially started off as Negro History Week. Mm-hmm. So again, we started from a week. We've become a mighty, mighty long way. But yeah, it started as a week of history and with it. And again, it was just a way for us to go through and learn more about ourselves, to learn the history of us. Because again, as we know, history is the one thing that a lot of us can't trace back. Our history was unfortunately taken from us, ripped away. So we go through and try to piece together stuff. And then we actually go through and embrace the parts that we do know, the parts that we do have, the parts that we can control. So that's what this is about. Like just talking about the need for Black History Month. Now, when people talk about the conversation, like, you know what, man, why is there a Black History Month? What's the need for it? Slavery happened so long ago. Enslavement was so long ago. That's always the go-to that I hear when it comes to this stuff. And I will tell you guys that although enslavement itself has happened long ago, there are still a lot of systematic issues that are in place due to it. And this is just a way to show people that, there's still a fight that needs to happen. It's not the same fight that we had. It's a variant of it. It's just a shift of it. Things are getting better slowly. And you hear the chuckle with this though. And it's not to down anybody, down anything. It's just the reality of the world that we're in right now though. Like we're all literally trying to make this world a better place. And unfortunately, some folks don't feel that it's needed. And that this as a whole is needed. And that's why Black History Month is such a big deal, because we have to let them know that, hey, there are still a lot of issues that are going on in the world. There's still a lot of problems that we're facing. There 're still, even in the industry that we're in currently, in the medical field, there are so many issues that happen day to day. Misdiagnoses that happen. It's just a list of things that happen on and on. Like it's people are going through or not having trust in the system because again, the system has not always done what it's supposed to do with us. And that's another reason why we do stuff like this, just to talk about it, because we know those barriers are there. We understand that you have the fear of stuff, and rightfully so. It's just one of those we've had a rough and troubled past. It's something that this nation is trying to skirt away from. But we know like the best way to do it is just embrace it.
Right.
Embrace what's happened, because I think when we do that, we can then just move forward with it. And I'm not saying moving forward just to kind of get over it or anything like that.
Just like they always try to tell us, get over it. And it's like, nah, man, we can't just get over it. It's especially when it's happening right there to
Exactly.
us. And they try to make it sound like it's nothing. It's like, y'all always want to make it about race and this and that. And it's like, come on, man, you got to keep your eyes open on that. Like, not everything is about race, obviously, but when those things that happen and when you can clearly see the disparities between people of color, and then you have white people, and it's just like you look at it like job offers or job opportunities or schooling or anything. But they're like, well, what about the things, the scholarships you get for minorities? That's not fair. And it's like, well, we can have something ourselves, and you all want everything. It's everything. I'm not saying this is every white person or anything like that. It's just stuff that's happened collectively over the course of U.S. history, the course of history, period. So it's just when we're trying to do our own thing, it's like, oh, well, you all are doing too well, so we're going to take that away. And it's like, we're trying to move away from you all. Let us do us. And then it's like, no, we want some of that too. So, and it's like, we're trying our hardest to do what we want to do for us, even though they're like, well, you should do this for yourself.
Exactly.
It's like, well, we have, but you came and destroyed that. So
we're trying to rebuild and rebrand and do our thing again. And if that happens and we keep getting hit with barriers, and again, if y'all ain't learned, we are people who push through barriers and overcome objections to hold. That's what we do. We hop over hurdles. Like, this is nothing new to us, but at the same time, this is nothing new to us. We're tired of having to deal with some of the same things that I've been fighting for and like arguing this about like year after year after year. It's not about, I don't think anyone would say with Black History Month, it's not even about like trying to down anyone else. No. It's just literally trying to show pride in what we have been able to contribute, what we have, especially again, like I mentioned before, we're a people who don't have a true, I don't want to say a true history because our history is there. We have been cut off from that history. And it's that whole, like you mentioned, like everyone say, we need to get over it. We need to go past it. We need to, think past it. We can't. It's like until people literally come up and like address it head on, and then come to like, it's not even come to understanding, because we're never in the world going to have that euphoric state or that kumbaya, that utopia that people want, to where everybody just living happily and peacefully. We just want it all to where we can just live our lives and not have to worry about, heck, walking up the street, getting shot by someone,
just jogging for whatever we want to, just little things like that.
Going to church.
Yes. just being in the church. It's when we said Black Lives Matter and they took it as, oh, it's only Black lives. And it's like, no, even when we use the analogy of if this house is on fire, so you're going to come and you're going to put out the fire on this particular house. What about all other houses? All houses matter. All lives matter. And it's like, come on, man. Like you all are deliberately just trying to make whatever we have about just a whole race thing and make it about if it's something bad, when we're literally like, no, we matter too. And you can see the difference in Black lives that are being taken from, by the police and by people of the law, as opposed to white people. And they always want to bring up like the percentages and stuff like that. And it's like, come on, we're trying to show what literally is in front of you, and you don't want to see that for whatever reason. So
exactly. And that's again why, I'm gonna keep turning back. This is why Black History Month is still important, it's still relevant to this day, because we're still facing issues. Again, they're newer issues, they're newer versions of the same issue. I should keep saying.
This is the sandwich.
Y'all see this sandwich, right? Look, I have not eaten my sandwich yet, because I know once I start, I'm not going to be able to talk to y'all. So like, it's like,
you'll see me munching on the fries, man.
It's like taunting me. So just know that, all right? But yeah, it's like we're not trying to down anyone when it comes to Black History Month. Black History Month, it was designed again just to fill an absence, a void that what's happening in the world. Like, the people will realize, okay, there's so much history out there, so much knowledge is out there that we don't know about ourselves, because it's not being taught to us, first of all, in the school systems.
Right.
That's why there was college students in California. That's why the push happening went so far in the 70s, because they're like, we need to know about ourselves. Like, why are we not being taught our history that's out there? And it was like a group of college students in the 70s that demanded, like, no, we want better. We deserve better.
Yep.
They went through, they protested. When that protest happened, you get the right people on board with you and you get that ball rolling. And again, a small and mighty force eventually is going to keep picking up speed, picking up momentum. And then look at where we are now. Like we went from Negro History Week to Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell everybody, yes, it's the shortest month because people are like, why we gotta get February? Why is February the month that we got? There was reasons behind that. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was brought up. I'm gonna refer back to my notes to make sure I don't even mess this up. All right, but they chose the month of February because it coincides with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. Now, again, Lincoln, we ain't gonna even talk about that guy, but I'm not gonna do it. But now Lincoln, as we know, Honest Abe. I'll leave it at that. So great. So yeah, but that's why February happened. So I said, right, it's a short month. Like it's a short and mighty month, though. Like it's a month full of power. It's a month full of energy. And a lot of people, I keep like a meme that keeps out of my head, like it was of two kids walking. Mm-hmm. One was a little black boy, one was a little white boy. And the white boy said, oh, y'all celebrate February for Black History Month. And the little black kid said, no, Black History Month in February is not necessarily for us. It's more so for you all to learn about the stuff that we do, because once you see the importance of the stuff that we do, we feel like that maybe, I guess, I'm now adding more to this, that maybe with that, I guess y'all can then see the importance of us as a people. And I feel like we shouldn't even have to do that. Like it should be one of those things like, hey, human rights, human respect. We're all together on this dirt of earth and rock floating through space. We ain't got no other planet to go to, guys. We are here together. So it's like one of those things, like, let's make the space and the time that we have here together,
right,
like as peaceful as possible, like as not even like we just have to be here and be together and like show love to folks. If you don't do that, like how does the world even go around? Like That's the part that like is keep getting me. Like even the mission that we have at Here at Donate Life is like, our focus is about helping the next man out, the next woman out, the next person out, in a thoughtless kind of way, because when we sign up to become organ tissue donors, we're just signing, we're going to live our lives.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily assigning who's going to get what. I'm not having anywhere in my will say, hey, I don't want my organs to go to someone of this color, anything like that. So if I can have that mindset now to know that my gift of life, whenever it does happen, is going to go out and help so many others out there, no matter the race or whatnot, why can't we have those same kind of like mentalities and stuff while we're here on this side of it? Like, why can't people treat each other with some respect, with some dignity, just with the basic human rights that we need and deserve? Like,
speaking of people being donors, I remember when I went to go renew my license after transplant, and they was like, do you want to be a donor? And I felt with so much pride. I was like, yes, I do, because if it wasn't for somebody being a donor, an organ donor, then I wouldn't be here. So even though I am a recipient, I am an organ donor, because my other organs are just fine. It was just the liver that was, but all my other organs are just fine. And speaking of all my other organs being fine, this is where I really want to push that narrative of us, people of color, to really, really, really take care of our bodies. We have a history of high blood pressure. We have a history of diabetes. I mean, I get it. You love chitlins, you love hog maw, you love whatever else is pig feet, whatever.
And I'm hopping with that, but because that stuff too, the reason why we had to love that stuff though, is because that's all that we had to love. Those are the scraps that we had. Like, so again, the stuff that he's talking about, the soul food and everything that like we're so used to, so accustomed to, that originated because that's all we had. We got literally scraps. We got the intestines of the pig, and what do? We literally made magic happen. Now, granted, I don't eat them, but they made magic happen with that stuff, because that's what we do in life. Like that shows, even that alone, and I'm gonna let you go back to that. That whole idea of the meal alone has shown like why Black History Month is important. We have for so long gotten scraps, literal scraps from people, and have made so much magic from it. Because again, even when we're going through stuff, to wake up and still have this thing, we have the world against us sometimes, but it's still to wake up and like with a smile, like thanking God that I got to see another day, hope for something else better to go through and push through. So it's like,
it's what you said in black magic is exactly what it is. People want to attribute black magic with something negative. Like, nah, we make anything better. And everything that we've gone through, we were still smiling, we were still singing hymns just to get through that. Like, could you imagine going back in that time and seeing them still being able to play and still be able to find joy in things, and even know that it was such a terrible time?
Exactly.
So that's what I love about us as a people, as a community. We got to get back to helping one another the way that we used to. I don't like the crabs in a bucket mentality, because that's something I felt that was forced on us, because they saw that, wait a minute, they're great at everything, so they're gonna beat us, or they're gonna do this. And we literally aren't trying to beat out anybody. We're just trying to do our thing. And that's the crazy part. It was like we wanted to be equal. We weren't even trying to be better. We wanted to be equal. And you all saw us as better. So that wasn't right. That wasn't us trying to say we're better than you. We just wanted to be on the same field as everybody else. But you saw us as being better. And we can't help it if we are, but we just wanted to do our own thing. And again, I'm not taking anything away from anyone else. It's literally just, we want to do us. Let us do us. And then we could possibly just coexist. That's what we're trying to do. Bring things together as a nation, as a world. And there's no telling what we can accomplish. But again, it's just that division, and it's terrible.
And the one thing I will say with this, that's the importance of Black History Month. So this is why I think it's still relevant today, and why it's going to be relevant, unfortunately. And I'm not saying unfortunately it's going to be relevant, but it's going to take a long time for things to change until the nation that we all live in. And I ain't going to push past the nation, because again, it has to start from home.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we're going through like, oh yeah, let's people over here doing this. We got to help folks. And don't get me wrong, human nature, you got to help anyone and everyone. I get that aspect though, but you always got to, take care of home first. And I think that's the problem that a lot of folks, connect, man, get your scared away. So yeah, we have some technical difficulties on the other side here. We're trying to make sure everybody can see everything here. But that's that's the stuff that we go through on a day-to-day basis. Like, we're just trying to make it to where you all see the stuff that we see. Yes, we're learning about ourselves too. I know I was a teacher prior to this job, and I made sure my kids understood the importance of not only Black History Month, but all the history that went leading up to that aspect, like to that point, like what got to that bullet point. And it was just a lot of no's, a lot of wrongdoings, a lot of this, that, and the other, where people finally said enough is enough. Mm-hmm. Like we've got to, and again, like you said, it's not about taking over. It's never been about anything like that. We are just fighting for the basic human rights, equality, the stuff that's in the Declaration of Independence, all that stuff that they wrote about many, 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 many years ago. We just want that. Mm-hmm. We're not even trying to get even more. So it's like until we can get that, but it's like, we realize that we have to continue to do stuff like this, these Black History Month programs, Black History Month as a whole, everything, because we've got to continue to educate. This is, I guess we're in a time of education still. Like, we're going to continue to be that way, because we have to educate. And I feel like it's sad at times, because I feel like we're having to educate folks on why we are important and why we need to be here and why we deserve to be here. But that's another conversation for another time, though. But it's one of those, this is where we are right now. Mm-hmm. We look back, civil rights movement, all that stuff, when everything happened, they had their fights that they had to deal with, and they had to pick up their torches. Rosa Parks sat down so we all could sit down and not get back up from that matter. It's so much stuff that they did and they're doing, or their effects that they did are still here. We're just picking up the new mantle. Like, what is our thing? That's where we're in, and we're just trying to figure out still, like, the same dream that MLK had Jr. all those years ago. We're still, unfortunately, trying to get that same dream into fruition the entire way through. Now,
it's been a little bit better each decade.
Yeah,
it's been a little bit better. It's like, well, do you ever win at this game? It's like,
exactly,
do just a little bit better. And I have to say that I'm proud of us in a way, because we, like you said, we overcome. And it seems like as of late, we realize just who we are. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm not going to stand for this anymore. And I love it. It seems like the mentality is shifted. And it's like, we know exactly who we are as a people, what we can do, what our power is, and we're going to go about it. I mean, I see so many Black women opening their own businesses, so many degrees, so many just doing their thing. I've seen Black men there's a rise in Black men as far as entrepreneurship, as far as getting their secondary education, and
the opportunities are showing up there. That's what it
and
boils
we're
down.
pouncing on them.
That's
So,
it. And that part right there, we're seeing those opportunities. Because just think, generations prior to us, they literally dreamed about moments like this. Heck, even with us sitting on the screen doing little some talks like this, I know for a fact there are generations who have bled, cried, died for just something as simple. And as simple as this, like for us to be able to have a conversation, because we know for a fact this wouldn't be able to happen years ago.
On a platform to where we can reach out
that part
on more than just a room full of people or a secret room full of people.
Exactly.
And to be able to do, like for me, I wanted to play basketball. Like that was my thing. Like I was at the University of Louisville and I couldn't play because of my liver disease. And I felt cheated. The reason why I felt cheated was because I was really good. Like I was there with them. And they were like, well, you can't play because it's a liability. Granted, I understood exactly what they meant. And I understood that, but it hurt so bad because this was my dream. More than anything, yeah, I wanted to make it to the NBA, but to be a Cardinal was like, that was it. Like if you knew my grandfather, oh man, he was through and through. Granddaddy was, I mean, I have a bib. I have a picture of a bib where it says Cardinal baby. So I was born into it.
He was bred into
it.
Literally.
So, hey. But afterwards, I ended up doing a photo shoot to just be more comfortable with my scar because I hated it because I was like, this wasn't there before. Like I remember my stomach didn't have this. And then from that alone, that photo shoot, it blew up and it thrust me into the modeling picture. And I was like, I never thought I would be a model because it just wasn't anything I was interested in. Acting, of course, I always wanted to do that. But the modeling, I was like, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't think I was any type of model material. And I've been able to network with so many different people, and it's just the things that the bad things that I thought that were bad at the moment I was going through, I was still able to make something out of, which again goes back to that black magic thing. We make something out of nothing. And no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad we are going through or bad what it is that we are going through, it's frustrating while we're going through it and we may not see the bigger picture, but if we just keep going and keep going and keep going, then it's always going to be bright on the other side. I don't care what it is that we're going through, what it is that you do. It may seem so grim, so bleak at that moment, but I promise you, if you keep going, it'll be the best thing ever. And it just, I mean, I don't think people understand that. It's like that analogy where you're mining for a diamond and the other person's found theirs, but you just say, you know what, I give up. And yours is like 10 times bigger than theirs. And it's right there. But that's why I never give up, because I always feel like as soon as I do it, my blessing is around the corner. And so,
and I'm about to take it, you know it, because that is, and just that's a testament to our people. Like how many of them could have stopped and just said, you know, and accepted where they were at. Like, you know what, this is it. This is enough. What would have happened had they back in the they said, you know what, we're cool with what we got. We got enough out here. We're free. We can make it work. What if they had just stopped at that point and said, we're good with what we got? They was complacent there and they were happy with that. We wouldn't be where we are now. Like it takes those extra steps. It takes those uncomfortable moments.
Complacency is not in our DNA.
At all.
It's not. And to see people being complacent and satisfied where they are, it just doesn't sit right. Like with me, I could be in the house like all day, and I'm kind of cool with that because, you know, I like to be away from people at times, but I have to be doing something while I'm in there. I can't just be sitting down. It's like I got to be doing something, and I'm always thinking about a better future for myself, or how I can help the next person, or how I can help my family. Like I always say, I want to make a lot of money. I want to do this, not because for any selfish reasons, but because I've always wanted to give back to my community, but also my family. Like it's sad that my grandfather isn't around to see what I will become, but I'm pushing because I want my grandmother who's here to see it, and I want her to be a part of it, because I just see this really, really, really nice life, not on on a basis where like this is all money and we're living out in like a villa or something like that. It's literally just I don't want to have to worry anymore. And I don't want my family to worry because they worried enough when I was going through my illness. I worried enough going through my illness. And if I can give back, because I know money helps, if I can give back, especially to the community for like Donate Life or for people who are going through an illness that they didn't ask for, I want to be able to do that because that would be like if you want to donate such and such to this, oh yes, hands down.
And that's what you're doing right now. Like you're having this conversation with me, with us. Like this is what you're giving back, like fold after fold after fold, tenfold. Like because you're going through and like you're reaching out to so many folks just to share your story alone. That is going to like wake folks up. Like whoa. Yeah. Wait, he was a healthy young man out balling and stuff, and it could happen to him. Like it gets us to going. Like, go to your doctor, go get checked out for this, because you know, us as a people, like I mentioned before, we do not like to go to the doctor until what? Until something is wrong.
And speaking of that, that night that I went, it was right after my 13th birthday party. I thought I ate too much. That was the reason why my stomach was hurting. I threw up, and my grandmother was like, "Let's go ahead, let's go." So when we go outside, as I'm getting into the car, I threw up. The pain was gone. And I'm like, oh. All right, well, maybe that's what it was. So we go back inside. I go lay down. Pain came back 3 times as worse. Okay, this is bad. She almost didn't go. And she said, you know what? Let's go. We got into that car. I remember them sticking me, prodding me 16 tubes of blood, hit an artery and everything. I'm over here like, Lord, what's going on? And I remember them coming back and saying, oh, he has appendicitis. My grandma, I didn't know what that was. 13. My grandmother was like, are you? Well, really? And they was like, you know what? Something doesn't look right. Let me go back. Something is off. Because I almost got misdiagnosed, had that happen. He comes back, and that's when they were like, he has cirrhosis. Still, I don't know what that is. And my grandmother was like, are you serious? And I'm looking at her like, is that bad? Like, do I get a pill for this? Like, how does this work? And they told me, and I really didn't think it was anything of it until they said, your spleen is enlarged along with your liver. And then they said, do you have any physical activity? I said, I play basketball. You can't do that right now. That's when I was like, oh, this is serious. And I cried. I was like, no, like this. Like, I mean, I did other extracurricular activities. I mean, I was very intelligent, was on debate team and stuff like that. But basketball was my outlet. And I was like, no, you can't take that away from me. Like, so I tried everything I snuck and played. Grandchild put me, she was like, I'm gonna put you on punishment if I find out you played. I didn't care. I got put on punishment. I was like, this is me. So my doctor, Dr. Thomas Stevens was who it was. He said, well, it's because your abdomen is not strong enough. You know what I did? I worked on it. I worked on it. I was like, no, if that's what's holding me back, I worked on it. I built my body up to where like, and then he said, well, something can still happen. And I said, that's not fair. You told me if I built my body up. So I said, well, what if I had something to protect it? My grandmother bought me a QB jacket. It was a small one to where it wasn't, anything that was noticeable. It covered what it needed to. And I played because I was like, you're not going to take that. What I love, that if I could get on that court, all my problems were gone. Like even if it was only for a few hours, it was just that was my out. That was my escape. And so to bring that up again, like we got to be healthy, stay healthy. No matter what you're going through, no matter how many times you go to the gym, no matter how healthy you eat, still go to the doctor. Still make sure that you're in tip-top shape because it could be anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be like cancer or anything like that, but it could be something that you could stop right before it gets worse. So thank God that we found that at the age of 13. And it took 14 and a half years for it to take over, something that should have took 3. But throughout that time, I prayed. I made sure that I kept my body in shape. I wasn't a drinker. I didn't really have a bad diet. I was always eating home cooked meals from my grandmother who stayed away from salt. And that's why I really feel like I was supposed to share my story because it wasn't a typical one because my case was a bit different, but it just goes to show that again, like you said, somebody who's very healthy can. So I just want to make sure that whoever is out there that is in need of an organ, that is part of a family who is in need of an organ, or who's a donor, living or has left us. It's important to understand everything that goes into it, because I think with the people that are the recipients, it isn't just about us. It isn't just about the donors either. I think the families and the people, the caretakers, are a huge part of it because it affects them as much and maybe even more sometimes seeing your loved one like that. Like with me, I was used to it. I could handle it, but seeing my mom, my grandmother, my brother, my friends, seeing me in that instance, it sucks because I couldn't help them. Just even though I was ensuring them, like, I'm okay, I'm doing well, I'm doing fine, but they see something different. So I just want to make sure that whoever is part of this community to stay strong, and everything will be fine in the end. I promise you. However it plays out, everything works out for the best.
That's it. Hey, see, look, you know what? See, he's trying to take my little spot with his encouraging words at the end right there, right? You know, that should put you in the corner like Kendrick says at the bottom, though. But though, because this is the stuff that we just know. We need to have conversations like this because that's another thing that we don't do in our community. Just have conversations about stuff that makes us uncomfortable. I think we've had enough heartache and like strife in our lives to be like, you know what? Let's just try to keep it as airy as possible. Let's keep it as lighthearted as possible and stay away from the heavy stuff unless we got to get to it. But like you mentioned, like it's about having those conversations early on because you don't know what those conversations can do. It could be a conversation that might get somebody else, you know what? Let me go to the doctor and get checked out. I might be okay in my eyes, but there could be something I just don't know because I ain't been to the doctor X amount of years. And a conversation gets that going. It might be that person, like hear somebody's story, like, whoa, this is your story. How can I be a part of it? Well, it's just as simple as doing this. Okay, great. And I tell everybody, go and sign up to be an organ and tissue donor. Like you literally just have to go registerme.org, donatelifeky.org. There's a big see at the bottom right there. And there's a yellow registry button in the middle. You literally just click it, fill out the information, and go and live your life. I kid you not, like go and live a long and healthy life. To just know that when it comes to an end, because I will tell this to everyone, we all get to that point to where we're going to spend our last moments on this side. To just know, because I will tell this to everybody too, that this is how I share my story. When my mom passed away, we're coming up on her 10th year. Wow, a couple of months. But this was a way of coping with everything, with dealing with everything, pushing through it all. Is the fact is, my mom was a donor. It was hard. It was tough to deal with the loss of her, obviously. Right. But it just pushed me on a different path. It just like, you know what? Let's spread this message. This is the mission that's out there, though, because again, I was able to see after I lost my mom, like I got a letter from somebody saying, like, whoa, thank you. Like a simple little thank you. And I'm like, tears just came out of nowhere because in my eyes, that's my mama writing that letter saying thank you. And I'm not gonna do this right now. Y'all not gonna catch me crying out here though. But it's stuff like that though.
That's the way she lives on.
Exactly. My mother, I thought about it. She passed away 10 years ago. My mom is still walking across this country. Like she is still living lives because she is helping other family members celebrate Black History Month with their loved ones, celebrate all the other holidays, the birthdays, the Christmases. That granted, I can't spend with her though. But again, I just know, like, I have comfort in knowing that she helped so many others.
And
like she helped so many
part
others.
of her is still here.
That part.
And that was what with my donor, Mackenzie, she donated her liver, and I think someone else had got her kidneys, and I'm gonna say her heart as well. But I'm in contact with her mother and her family, and to be able to do those paintings that I did for them, it was amazing. Like they paid me for it, everything, which was fine, but to be able to give to them, and it was like them spending the holidays with her again. And that to me was a huge deal because there was a point in time to where I was so depressed because of former friends leaving me after transplant. It was almost as if like they were like, they were there with me through everything else. But as soon as I got better, they left. So that left me confused. I was like, were you all thinking I was going to leave? And you all were kind of like banking on that for whatever reason. But the ones that stayed, I got to shout out Stefan, Gary Carpenter, the people who definitely made sure that I was okay afterwards. They mean a lot. And the people that left, for whatever reasons, I was angry for so long, but I let that go. And I remember Mackenzie's mom, Miss Robin, she was like, "That's part of me inside you. That's my daughter." And she was like, "So you're gonna deal with this deal with it the way that you can. She said, but you're going to come out of this. And basically like what a mother would say. And when I got past that, I was like, all right, I'm not just living for myself anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living for someone else's family, not just my own family, but another family, my bonus family.
Mm-hmm.
So it made things so much better. It made it seem like that my life had more meaning to it. And this is my second half of my life. Like this is like my rebirth. This is where I came up with my clothing brand Phoenix, because this is literally my second life. So at 27 is when I got my transplant, and I felt the best that I've ever felt. But to be able to know that when you said that your mom was walking all around this country, 2019 in December, I was in Los Angeles. That same time that I was there, they had posted a picture of Mackenzie in Times Square. So I was on one end of the country, she was on the other end, and her mom pointed that out. My grandmother saw it, my mom saw it, and then they showed it to me, and I was like, wow, like that's so cool. So it's literally like just the joy in knowing that I'm here because of someone else's sacrifice. And it's not always
and I even tell this way, don't even think of it as a sacrifice.
Yes.
It was a gift.
Yes, there you
go. Because and I understand where like the thought process, like the word sacrifice, because you get that family lost, whatever though. But still, I'll tell you, it's a gift from ours, like from the person who receives the gift, and also from that family side as well too, though, because and again, this is me coming from the donor family side. It is honestly a way to cope with everything. Right. Like, so seeing that stuff and like knowing that it's happened, like I tell everyone, like no matter what the situation was that get you there, we can't change that stuff. Like we don't know what may have happened to someone or whatever the case may be, but we know what we can do once a life. And like y'all see myself, one organ donor. Y'all see that one organ donor can save up to 8 lives.
Yes.
That's one person. That's at one yes. So when you go to get your driver's license, you can go to the website and register, all that stuff though. But when you sign up, you have the opportunity to give that final gift to 8 lives. Like literally 8 other people can still continue to have a healthier life based off the gift that we've given at our last time. Because, and I say this to everyone, what we gonna do with them? Right. They're literally gonna sit in the ground.
We can't take it with us
at all.
Can't take it.
We don't need them. And it's like I tell everybody, like, so why? Like, what's the purpose? Like, what is like really holding you tight? It's like, no, I'm gonna say no. And whatever that is, I tell everybody, it's not as important as the fact is when you're done at the end of the day, you have the ability to affect and save 8 other lives, and not even just 8 lives of those who receive the transplants. Also the 8 families that go along with those as well too, though, because again, that ripple effect is something strong that I know I stayed away from it for a couple of years. Just being honest, like I just wasn't ready to deal with that side initially. But when I was able to see it, my mom's ripple was still happening from that day. And I was
reminds me of that movie 7 Pounds. Like it's when I watched that movie, I was still on the list. I'm like, wow, like he really saved all the people.
And
That's
it. Now look, because I'm about to go eat my food up, but so we're about to wrap this up. But there is one final thing that I want to make sure I tell you about. Next Friday, February 25th, at Cool Art Gallery, we have our next event coming up. It's Face the Donation, or Be the One. Face the Donation. Please come out. I will tell you, somebody is going to be featured in there. This individual here, though, but then also come out because you get to learn stories like Kendrick's and other people's as well too, and actually see the faces behind donation. Because I tell everybody, they hear organ tissue donation and they just think of it as just an act, like this is, or no, they can't make a personal connection to it. So I'm like, let's do that. Let's put a personal connection behind this. And I think if we were able to do this, I feel like this is going to be the next step, because I think when you can put a face to it, no matter what side of the fence it's on, someone who's waiting, someone who's received, a doctor, someone who just signs people up, whatever it is though, when you actually put a person to it, it's like, okay, you know what? I can see that. I could possibly help this person out, or I can see the benefits because now I'm tying it to a flesh and bone person. Like this is what this is going to be. You're going to be able to see the next side of things. So please just come on out. It's going to be a great event. I'm telling you, next Friday, February 25th, Kula Art Gallery from 5 to 8. We're going to do the art reveal about 6:30 or so.
It's going to be champagne there.
There is going to be champagne there.
People that like champagne.
Champagne and cupcakes. Trust me, I got some cupcakes coming too, so they'll be on point as well. And it's a free event. Just come out, just after hours. Just come through after work on Friday night next week, and just come out, enjoy, face the donation. Come out and see a new art exhibit. Portraits are going to be done by Art Rice. Did I say that right? Charles Rice. Because I'm trying to art by Rice. You see what I keep doing there? I'm a very tongue-tied person, if y'all can't tell. I talk faster than what goes up in here, though, so it just all just does itself. But Charles Rice, Art by Rice, has done the portraits for it, though. So please come out next week.
Amazing. I've done it 3 times with him. So yeah, he's
amazing.
amazing.
Tell y'all. So please come through, come enjoy. And before we get here, I have to give one more huge shout out to our sponsor again today, U.S. Bank. Thank you again so much for helping us out today, for allowing us to do stuff like this, just to have a conversation with folks. This is what it's about. Like, a conversation is what starts everything. I think the conversation is the first step, and then action is the next part. So we've got the conversation side going. If you could do me a favor, take care of the action side and just go and register. DonateLife.org. Go register. DonateLifeKY.org, because I want to make sure you come to ours, because the Don't Life KY crew is where it's really good.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for coming out with us here today. Go enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I know it's a little rainy out there. If you're out and about on the roads, please, please, please be safe. But hope to see everybody next week. Peace.